Come, let us explore meditation, art, symbols beginners should know. Together, gotta make sure the volume's working. Okay. Together, let us relaxingly recite. One of the most recognizable archetypes of Dzogchen's great completion stage of Buddhist meditation is the image depicting a nude woman, the color of a cumulus cloud, sporting in tantric union with a naked man, the hue of the infinite azure sky. Despite the pearl-clutching of Karens, if Catholics get to erect statues of a scrawny naked carpenter being tortured to death, then yes, the Hatha yogis get to display meaningful images of two beautiful people contemplatively making love. This image could be translated as the all-good one sporting in tantric union, in Sanskrit as Samantabhadra Samantabhadri Karma Mundara, and in Tibetan as Kuntu Zangpo Kuntu Zangmo Yab Yom. In his commentary to the Essence of Refined Gold, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet insisted that each Lama functions as his own sect. Bearing this in mind, let's explore an explanation of the iconography of this famous or infamous archetype. In this day and in this country, one could take literacy for granted, but in days of yore it was the exception, not the rule. Thus, it could come as little surprise that many teachers relied on symbols and archetypes to serve as mnemonic devices with which to remind folks of the teachings. Fortunately, most complex life forms on this planet have evolved to think symbolically, which made such a teaching strategy quite effective for humans. The nudity of the couple reminds us that for mindfulness to be truly beneficial as we inhale, it must be vulnerable, as well as passive, visceral, random, and fleeting. The translucence of Samantabhadra and Samantabhadri depicted in the finer paintings. Reminds us that for meditation to be truly beneficial as we exhale, we must physically relax that we may mentally release, as if that which we noticed during our previous inhalation can now feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although it could be tantalizing to the eye, could feel utterly non-graspable to the hand. The beauty of Kuntu Zangpo and Kuntu Zangmo remind us of the empathy, the source of the greatest beauty. That is the effortless byproduct of passively noticing and releasing relaxation. Passively noticing and releasing relaxation. In harmony with our respective inhalations and exhalations. The abandon with which the cloud-colored woman appears to sport in tantric union reminds us of the spontaneity that is tempered by a centeredness, which in turn is symbolized by the stability with which her sky-colored tantric partner or Vajra throne sits, reminding us that the more we authentically practice mindfulness and meditation, the more our choices, utterances, and deeds could flow with the right or effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. An additional archetype of Dzogchen's great completion stage of Buddhist meditation is the image depicting a scantily clad fellow the color of a cumulus cloud. In Sanskrit, this archetype of the mastery of the mindfulness and meditation is known as Vajrasattva. Vajrasattva. In Tibet, he is known as Dorje Sempa, and in English as Diamond Mind, or the diamond-like strength of a mind well trained in awareness and release. His crossed legs are reminiscent of the duality we notice as we inhale and the non-duality we feel as we relax into our exhalation. His 6 ornaments of anklets, bracelets, armlets, triple necklace, earrings, and semicircular crown. And by the way, let's take a closer look at that semicircular crown. So I'm going to use a prop here. I'm going to use a statue of Dorje Sempa. And when I turn it around, so this here is the front of his crown. But when you turn it around, you see that the crown is only a half moon. In the back, it's held together with a tie. So that's why I call it a semicircular crown as opposed to a European circular crown. Let's continue. Remind us of a bodhisattva's 6 perfections of generosity, kindness, patience, effortless effort, mindfulness, and meditation. Let's try this again. His 5 garments of skirt, belt, shawl, scarf, and semicircular crown tie remind us of a bodhisattva's mirror-like wisdom, discerning wisdom, all-pervasive wisdom, all-accomplishing wisdom, and equalizing wisdom, which we explored in greater detail in other lessons, other chapters. In his right hand, Dorje Sempa holds a 5-pronged Vajra, Sanskrit for diamond, reminding us that during our inhalations, we have evolved to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly and fleetingly notice perceptions such as sense, flavor, sensations, sounds, and sights. Experiences such as emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. Bases of mindfulness, such as the physical, such as the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental. And dualities, such as the external and the internal, the physical and the mental, the pleasurable and the painful, the interesting and the boring, the glorious and the grotesque. So before we go any further, I'd like to use another prop. So this is a close-up of a Vajra. Now there's 2 types of Vajras used in Tibetan Buddhism. One has 9 prongs and one has 5. I prefer the 5-pronged one because it has a special meaning. The late Chogyal Namkhai Norbu explained it this way. The 5 bottom prongs of the Vajra remind us of the 5 mental poisons. For instance, dread, desire, confusion, jealousy, and pride. The top 5 prongs remind us of their counterparts. You see, this squished orb in the center reminds us of emptiness. And whatever mental poison, so as we relax into our exhalation, The poisons we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to transform, respectively, into mirror-like wisdom, discerning wisdom, all-pervading wisdom, all-accomplishing wisdom, and equalizing wisdom. So now you know what this bad boy looks like. Now, is it important that you own a Vajra? No. Is it a fun teaching tool? Yes. So I'm going to tap button 14. Let's continue. In his left hand, Vajrasattva holds a Ganta in Sanskrit, holds a bell or Ganta in Sanskrit, reminding us that during our exhalations we're wired to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could literally feel fleetingly less stressful, permanent, and defining, like the fading ring of a bell. So let's explore this a little bit. Well, there's something else going on here. And figuratively feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky. On a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although looks visible to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. So let's take a deeper look. So this is the Ganta or bell, and I'm going to ring it, and hopefully I will not deafen you with the microphone. And the rate, with every passing second, the sound of the bell diminishes in volume. And so although in one moment it is resounding, in a few more moments, it'll be quite non-graspable. It'll be as non-graspable as a vast empty void. So often the mudra for holding a bell is we use our middle and ring fingers thusly. Similarly, to hold a vajra, traditionally, one would use, again, one's middle and ring fingers. If you want to be fancy, you might do it that way. Now, is that tradition? Yes. Is it important? Not at all. Let's continue. Let us not make the mistake of Yang's religious patriarchy, of deifying, worshipping, or supplicating a mere archetype. Instead, let us traverse Yin's path of spiritual matriarchy, allowing our practice to be inspired by the meaning of this iconography, that we could be the peaceful and loving people our dogs already think we are. This is why the Buddha taught mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time for us to shift gears. It is Sunday evening. Let's try this again. It is Rey Skywalker Sunday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost. Let's try this again. A little turnaround right now. Hope you forgive me. For more than 30 years, I have spent I've harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to Nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this evening's live stream, let's play with the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. That's right. That means only 10% of humanity is really gung-ho about yin spiritual matriarchy. It's really gung-ho about being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Mathematically, that infers that about 90% of humanity is equally excited about Yang's religious patriarchy. They think being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel is a-okay. These are the so therefore we should not be surprised when the majority of meditation teachers sincerely implore their students to actively focus and analyze. Now, the only way to perform focus or analysis is by relying upon the discrete neural pathways found in either the medial or dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Now, the problem is that when we overwork this front bit of our brain, number one, we set ourselves up, we make ourselves more vulnerable to feeling the symptoms of depression. And number two, we trigger our amygdala, which is the seat of both anxiety and aggression, the opposites of the peace and love that most of us desire. Fortunately, neither the amygdala nor the prefrontal cortex comprise the entirety of our central nervous system. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice. Mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Therefore, instead of squandering our time and energy forcing ourselves to focus, we can be completely open to all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. Every time we exhale, thanks to the parasympathetic nervous system divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. The most efficient way for us to cooperate with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems would be for us to silently and mentally recite the phrase, watch minds play, or watch the play of mind during our inhalation, and just silently and mentally recite relaxing during our exhalation. Now, if that's too wordy, you might want to use the one-syllable version of the same exercise, watch, ease. Either one is a-okay. So together, let us practice right now. Let us consider the archetype of the all-good mother and father sporting in tantric union. Their nudity reminds us of the vulnerability integral to awareness. Their translucence reminds us of the non-graspability that we feel, that we sample as we relax during our exhalation. Their beauty reminds us that the source of their beauty is love. And the highest love is accessed, is the spontaneous and uncontrived byproduct of mindfulness and release. The abandon with which she sports reminds us of spontaneity. The stability with which he sits reminds us of centeredness, or centered spontaneity is an additional benefit of mindfulness and meditation. Let's practice. Let us review the iconography of the archetype. The Vajra, held aloft in the right hand of Vajrasattva, reminds us that as we breathe in, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly notice sight, sound, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, as well as emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. The bell held in the left hand, held in the left hand of Vajrasattva, reminds us that as we relax into our exhalation, all that we noticed during our previous inhalation could seem as resounding, yet as non-graspable as a bell. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return, lead tomorrow's morning meditation class, as well as group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.